You didn't want to be that George Carlin anymore. You wanted to be a different George Carlin.
What I really was a rebel.
Can't educate our young people, can't get health care to our old people, but we can bomb the out of your country, all right?
New HBO documentary called George Carlin's American Dream about the life of the groundbreaking stand-up star. The two-part biography shines a spotlight on his multi-decade career and his life offstage as well. Jamie Wax has the story. Jamie, good morning.
Good morning, Dana. Yeah, I mean, come on. This could have been done yesterday, this material. The film is co-directed by Michael Bonfiglio and Judd Apatow, who started out in stand-up himself before becoming one of the industry's most influential creators of comedy movies and television.
Judd Apatow is best known for writing, directing, and producing blockbuster comedies like The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
This is not a good look for me!
I'm pregnant?
And Knocked Up.
With emotion?
But in recent years, he's also made detailed and thoughtful documentaries about personal heroes, like Gary Shandling.
You know, for 25 years, he was the most important mentor that I had. But in a lot of ways, he was a mystery to me.
And with co-director Michael Bonfiglio, the Avett brothers.
There ain't no man can't save me.
Who thought the world was gonna either come to us or not.
I'm actually really happy with the group that we got.
The two have teamed up again for a two-part HBO documentary that explores the life of one of the most influential comedians of all time.
Would you all meet George Carlin?
Hey, baby, what's happening?
What's wrong? What's the problem? What's wrong with having a prison in your neighborhood? Would seem to me like it would make it a pretty crime-free area, don't you think?
For him, 11 years old, he's in 5th grade. It's what do you want to do with your life? And he writes down DJ, comedian, actor, big deal. He achieved all those things, really, in his life, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He grew up at the time of Danny Kaye, and comedy was much different. It was probably Bob Hope and Milton Berle, people like that. And that was his dream, to be Danny Kaye, and became a DJ while in the Air Force. And that led to like live appearances.
Surviving an alcoholic father and a controlling mother, meeting fellow DJ Jack Burns gave Carlin a new outlet, creating the first of his onstage personas as part of a comedy duo.
I think Jack was the person that was into politics and was progressive, and George at the time, I think, was from a conservative family, and he started, rethinking a lot of his ideas about things.
Carlin eventually set out on his own, and though his early approach was more traditional, below the surface there were hints of what was to come.
I think the conventional wisdom is that he was just this straight-laced suit and tie guy, but he was actually experimenting with a lot of more subversive things, sometimes sneaking them on the air, like with the hippy-dippy weatherman Al Sleet was clearly a character that was stoned.
This is a Canadian low, which is not to be confused with a Mexican high.
Prior to that, he was doing things talking about, nepotism in the Kennedy administration and all kinds of other, subversive ideas. And sometimes it wasn't working for him, and he was trying to find his way.
Searching for his true voice, Carlin took his material too far for his audience at the time and lost a profitable contract.
Do you think this was like the first huge hurdle for him?
There was a series of things, but that was a huge one when he lost a very lucrative contract at the Frontier Hotel in Las Vegas. And he realized that he was being held in by these boundaries of the industry.
My work, man, both my life and my work are going in a direction of just being more natural,
His work was then becoming more authentic, as voiced by many in the documentary who he influenced.
It's like he de-transformed into who he actually was. And that's that great moment that every comedian wants to get to. It took me a long time to get to it, where the person that you are off stage is who you are on stage.
It really was about having these really light pieces.
Just take a simple thing like the word alter. Alter and change are supposed to mean the same thing. You can alter your plans, you can change your plans, and you've done the same thing. But if you alter your pants and you change your pants...
And then switching at some point to these really intense political pieces.
They arrested me for profanity.
The Supreme Court restricts the broadcast of dirty words.
So he tried to give you a bit of everything, but it was all a setup to get to the one thing he really cared the most about.
Life is sacred? Who said so? God?
Hey, if you read history, you realize that God is one of the leading causes of death.
Finding himself led to decades as a hilarious truth teller, with routines that sound as fresh and relevant now as they did when they were first performed.
Pro-life conservatives are obsessed with the fetus from conception to 9 months. After that, they don't want to know about you. They don't want to hear from you. No, nothing. No neonatal care, no daycare, no Head Start, no school lunch, no food stamps, no welfare, no nothing. If you're preborn, you're fine. If you're preschool, you're
The impact of that material has changed comedy forever.
He personified that thing that you see when you're young and you go, that's it, that's the thing to be. And I wanted to be just like him, getting every word in the right spot.
The documentary also delves into George Carlin's complicated relationship with drugs and with family life. One of its strongest voices coming from Carlin's daughter, Kelly.
My mother was his biggest champion. She just had a way of lifting people up and believing in them. They were comrades in arms. But then what happened was superstardom.
She wrote a book about her relationship, and I think she has taken everything that happened to her as a way to educate herself and to heal. The core of the story really is this relationship between Kelly and her family. Hi, honey, just got your letter. I thought it was funny. Kelly's doing everything you mentioned, plus sticking out her tongue.
He loved deeply, as seen in these love letters to his first wife, Brenda, written while he was financially strapped and on the road.
I hate to repeat myself, but I must tell you this again. I intend to spend the rest of my life making you as happy as you can be.
Thanks for being here with me for a little while tonight. Thank you.
And even with all the brilliant comic material George Carlin left us, Apatow and Bonfiglio say the humanity of his personal struggles are just as important to remember.
You can always change, that people can always grow and reflect and change and try to do better.
I look at it like there's a human arc and there's a creative arc, but more importantly, I just think about it as a story of a young kid from an abusive family who found a way to survive and had a lot of hard lessons to learn about how he could be a good parent and a good husband and spend his life trying to be a better person, and got there.
He did more than get there. The HBO documentary George Carlin's American Dream is streaming now on HBO Max, and it is just so well worth it.
I'm 30 minutes in about. I couldn't resist last night when I saw it dropped at 8. I was like, I gotta watch, and I started watching, and I was tired. But it's so good, and I love him. He is everything. All of his comedy routines that I've seen resonate in some way with me. I can't explain it.
They're
they just
so
do.
Timeless.
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh, yes,
exactly.
they are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, they really are.
They are.
You watch it today, and he's just as good. And the fact that he changed, and they talk about it.
Yeah.
You can always change, and he did.
Yeah.
He evolved
for sure.
As a person, his routines, everything else. You're still not going to do the 7 words you can't say on TV.
I committed them to memory at 14, and I said them in correct order.
He has them
I
too.
think I
Jeff has
committed
them
them to
too.
memory at 13.
We won't do that
And
to
then
you,
there's
Brian.
the expanded 10 words.
We won't do that to you, Brian.
right.
Someone in the
know about.
control room has their finger over the bleep button right now.
We tried to do
All right, David, thank you.